I love that it's perceived by the market that this can be quickly built because it shows value, right? They're like, oh my God, I
Yeah.
can get this started. A really good analogy is, well, yeah, you can use Excel, but there's a reason you use a CRM.
Today, GTM AI podcast with Jonathan Moss and Coach K. Tune in now, don't delay. Catch the future on display. In a world of
Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It is I, Jonathan Carford, aka Coach K, and I am pleased, pleasured, excited, ecstatic, humbled, honored to have my man Varun Puri with me, who is the CEO and co-founder, right, of Yoodli Roleplays, which I've heard nothing good about you guys. Kelly, a good mutual friend of ours, we're good friends in the enablement space. She told me about you guys, and I was like, I'd love to talk to them. So I'm just so glad to have you on, and just want to say thank you. How are you?
Are you kidding? It's bucket listy for me to be here. What about you? See you, watch your stuff, listen to it. So thank you for hosting me.
Of
I'm
course.
well and amped to be here.
I love it. So you were telling me how you're traveling back and forth from Seattle to San Fran. So you poor guys in the travel mode. But like always, like I told you before we get into the nitty gritty of AI and all the craziness there, I really love to know about you, the non-LinkedIn, non-resume version. Who are you? What's your passion? Why are you doing what you're doing? Kind of tell me more of your history and background, and we'll kind of dig in from there.
I love it. Loaded question at day zero. I'll start with that and then, feel free to dig in.
Yeah.
My story is I'm Varun. I grew up in India. My family's back home in India. I came here for college, went to a small liberal arts college, Claremont McKenna in SoCal.
Yeah.
And then joined Google right after, where through a very random series of events, I ended up getting tapped by Sergey Brin, who's one of the founders, to run special project for him. Dream job, lots of really cool, holy crap moments. I was the only person at Alphabet reporting to Sergey. I was giving him my weekly view of here's what the little guy sees. But then I ended up quitting that to start Yoodli. And I'm going through the high of, was this the biggest blunder or the best career decision? Maybe you handle this. Your question of my why, forget role plays and whatnot. I grew up in India and I found it really hard to fit into the US. And I've seen this across the board: immigrants, non-native English speakers, introverts, lots of folks who may not back themselves, don't get opportunities they deserve because of quote unquote how they play the game. And I saw this in corporate America as well, right? Like the big execs will get access to the media trainers and the speech coaches and all the executive briefings, but the mid-career engineer who actually deserves the promotion won't get it because the PM was on stage and got all the credit. Or for every version of me that lands a Sergey job, there are a million kids back home in India who've been to IIT and whatnot,
Right,
but they may not get the job. My why is I want to help people speak with confidence. Maybe that's through AI. Hopefully that's through Yoodli. But I'm convinced someone has got to solve this problem, given that 2 out of 3 people in the world struggle with this. We've all been there. We all know someone, right? The night before a speech, an interview, a date, a roundtable discussion, a VC pitch, we're talking to a mirror, a camera, a stopwatch, like that has got to be a better way.
Right. I love it. And your journey, like I'm always humbled to have people like yourself because I have nothing but respect and admiration because I know being separate from families in India, like that's got to be difficult. There's a lot of difficulties you're going through that I don't think people understand. I know I don't understand because it's not my world, but I've been blessed to be on enough teams, like even my current team at Momentum, half the teams in India, and they're like the most brilliant, humble, kind people that I just love working with. I've had that luckily for the last 3 jobs where the engineering team or even sometimes the SDR team is all in India, and they tell me things they go through and like the lifestyle and like the things they go through just being in India. And then also having people here coming from there. It's just fascinating, super humbling, just because I know you go through things that me being raised and born in Idaho didn't have the same thing, So I just want to say thank you for your transparency and just being open about it. So thank you.
Oh, I really appreciate you saying that. And one of the things I talk to folks about is I think being an immigrant here isn't always easy, but it comes with a lot of perspective. And that even when I'm building Yoodli, my dream is, my mom's at a dinner party in Delhi and someone goes to her and is like, wait, your son works at Yoodli? That's so cool. That's my why. Different people have different. If I can get my mom hearing about Yoodli as she's like driving her car somewhere, oh my God, mission accomplished.
I love it. I love it so much. Let's dig in a little bit. For those who don't know who Yoodli is, give me the spiel. What's Yoodli?
TLDR is, Grammarly for speech. how do we do to speaking, what Grammarly did to writing with real-time analytics, what Duolingo did to language learning, what Strava, Peloton, Apple Health did to fitness with quantifiable analytics. Yoodli is your communication coach. This could be for a speech, an interview, a roundtable discussion, for lots of GTM enablement. We'll talk about that in a sec. Where you come, you practice, you get near realistic, objective, and judgment-free feedback on how you did. This could be, Varun, your intro didn't land, your joke wasn't funny, you handled the sections poorly,
Right.
you talk too much, ask open-ended questions, etc. And it's completely customizable. So in that vein, we're working with most of the major sales coaching companies, someone like a Sandler Sales, Korn Ferry, etc. Large enterprises, Google, Databricks, Snowflake, RingCentral, who use us across the org. And then with individuals, I have an interview tomorrow, I have a speech tomorrow. Oh my God, I'm nervous. How do I talk at stand up? I'm a founder, I'm trying to raise money.
Yeah.
Go to Yoodli, sign up, start practicing. And we've seen use cases across, doctors are using us for difficult end of life conversations. There are
Oh, wow.
in Afghanistan that are using us to help women get education that they may not otherwise get because of systems currently structured and much more.
That's awesome. So I'm curious because, we were talking before. I know a lot of AI role play founders, and the category is like super, super crowded. But there's obviously a big difference in the applications and then what each tool specializes in. So I'm curious. I've genuine curious questions. Is it because like speech and practicing a speech, like there's so much with tone and tempo and the inflections in your voice? Is your AI technology not just reading the transcribed speaking, but is it actually doing things with reflection of voice and emotional tone and that kind of stuff as well?
Yep, totally. We started as an AI public speaking tool. So Yoodli gives you feedback on your tone, pitch, intonation,
Cool.
language, content, structure. But very quickly, we saw that people are using us for a whole host of applications, many of which I just mentioned. And we realized,
Yeah.
wow, everything's a role play. Like a role play in me preparing for this podcast, all the way for my role play in prepping 15,000 reps before a big sales kickoff. What Yoodli's superpower is, or at least I think you'll have to tell me, is
Yeah.
one, scales across the org, right? This is not just GTM enablement. All of Google might
Right.
use us, and then all of a sudden the L&D team will be like, wow, I need this for manager training, and I need this embedded in my CRM and my LMS and whatnot. So it just expands a lot more. And then role plays that are not just a feature, right? Like it's very easy to make a check the box GPT wrapper. Everyone's doing it. You hear of a new tool every day, but
Yeah.
role plays that are truly fun, most importantly, contextual. They're tailored to you. They understand your context. They have memory from your last conversation. That are multi-persona, right? I can create some kind of mock role play just like that, but something would have to read the room and talk to a buying committee, and there's a procurement person and a finance person who's grilling me is really hard. And I think that entire play is category creation.
That's awesome. I know that, for example, most people are used to the type of role plays, which is literally like a wrapper of GPT just trained on specific prompts or use cases, whatever. But obviously it's just transcribing the transcript and going from there, which is still better than nothing. But the first real, like I knew about AI tech for years, but 5 years ago, the company I was with bought an AI technology where it was meant for this. And the AI was reading emotional tone, body language, and then giving a readout to the person on the other side of like how they're interacting. So it wasn't a role play, but it's just literally reading all the things you do. And I was like, this is fascinating. That was 5 years ago, I mean, it was from a guy from India who's brilliant. He's in San Fran now, another company. But that was the world I got into with AI going, this is crazy. The AI can do this stuff. And most people know, at least now, experience role plays in the, popping open a GPT, turning on the voice mode, and then that's their experience, which is still good. But again, to your point, there's so much more to communication than just the words. I come from the world of training. And they always taught us like 70% body language, 20% your tone of voice, the other 8, maybe 9, 10% your words. So most AI role play tech misses 90% of the communication, which is so important. And from practicing, if I want to practice a speech, I want to practice my tone, my inflection, my delivery, and just transcript alone doesn't do that. So I love that you're doing that. Do you feel like that as a result of that, is that one of the separators between you and other tech? Is the next level of communicating and giving feedback?
To be honest, I think it's part of it.
Yeah.
The biggest pieces of separation are one, we're in deep enterprise. So when you talk about that, it's admin provisioning and scaling, and does it play nice with my LMS and my CMS and my CRM, and does it have deep SOC 2 type 2, not just the check mark type stuff, which is why a lot of our main customers are, Fortune 50 type companies. That's the first. The second is that the end learners actually enjoy using Yoodli. We want to move to a world, like, forget all of the role play stuff. The way for someone to improve is to record themselves and watch themselves and cringe. That's it. You don't and I was a speech coach to a lot of folks. All I would do is record them and make them watch themselves back. And they do that 3 times. And then there are like 5 tricks to speaking, right? Speak in threes, have a friendly opener, whatever. And as part of that, we want to change the paradigm where learning is no longer push learning, which is complete your training, your compliance person is bugging you. It's something was like, my God, this was really fun. And I felt like I actually improved. And, my spouse is at another company and they're struggling with something. Let me
They
go
needed to,
and my kid's actually applying for an interview, or, they're working with a speech language pathologist and they have a stutter. They should use this as well. And that's how we've seen this flywheel really extend.
That's awesome. You mentioned something earlier. What did you just say? You said, sorry, sparked a thought. Hang on. Come back to me.
Sorry, I'm saying so many things. I need to.
It's good. It's good. Like, you're sparking these. This is great. Yeah. I could go down a couple of different paths. I'll go down this one. So we talked about this a little bit before about how, because you can have a wrapper or use 11 Labs or use like an OpenAI voice mode, that kind of stuff, where you have that experience, and so it becomes relatively easy for whoever to spin up an AI role play and then say, hey, we have an AI role play, How do you feel about, is this becoming a feature or is it becoming a category? And then how do you plan for the future when this could be easily built, quote unquote, easily built, and it is perceived by the market that it's easily built? Does that make sense? How do you separate that?
It's a great question. First, I love that it's perceived by the market that this can be quickly built because it shows value, right? They're like, oh my God, I can get it started. A really good analogy is, well, yeah, you can use Excel, but there's a reason you use a CRM. Just raise a little over $20 million to create this category.
Yeah.
Our entire thinking behind the category is verticalization of what might just be a prototype. That means deep admin reporting and deep customization. Someone like a Sandler sales trains a gazillion sellers a year around their detailed methodology, right? The upfront contract, 30-second commercial, permission-based opener, whatever. For them to have a role play tool that's truly a co-pilot or reinforcement of what they do, a GPT wrapper is enough. Not just from core functionality, but latency, scale, availability, end UI, and a lot more. I think of GPT or any LLM as a great foundation, but when you're really trying to do the nuts and bolts across hundreds, if not thousands of sellers, learners, I don't think that's going to be sufficient.
I'm going to ask you some geeky question because this is more of the tech side coming up. So is it the fact that you have your own AI models and own AI voice mode, that kind of, so it's not like you're tapping into your own thing?
It's a combination of that. I think the best way to think about Yoodli, now going into geekiness of tech stack, is we will use a foundation model. We will fine tune it around a use case. So in this case, let's call it objection handling. Then we will further fine tune it around the methodology you're using. Medic, Band, Medpic, Grow, pick your favorite. Then we'll further customize it around your company. So Google, for instance, might say, call them users, not customers. Smile, or whatever, like everyone has their own values and ways of doing things. And then we further customize it around the end learner. By that, let's say I'm a rep at Google. I just had a call with Pfizer. My notes are in Salesforce. Yoodli is smart enough and is, Bob, you did well. We've created a role play for your next call with the buying committee at Pfizer based on these notes. Your manager's got an alert. You need to hit whatever, landing the plane, do your role play before you can have the actual call. And that entire stack of customization is wicked hard to do.
Yeah, I can tell you from experience, it's not easy to do that at all. That's awesome. So I have a random question. I just thought of this now, so please forgive me if it's like off the wall. But because I'm in enablement, like one side is actually obviously delivering and getting feedback and like just practicing the speech. I think that's so crucially important to be able to get feedback in a place that's not the customer. But there's the other side around if you have to present something like a deck and then getting feedback, or if you want to learn different things so that instead of someone being the practice, it's the AI teaching them. So it's showing things proactively. Do you see a world where that becomes part of what Yoodli does? Or is it more, you want to focus on the focus currently?
It's a great question. And by the way, this wasn't preceded. It's literally our vision. The future of learning is extremely...
It was not preceded. It's genuine questions.
So by that, we believe that quizzes are dead. Nobody should ever have to watch a passive video or read a wiki or a doc ever again. Instead, that kind of learning is also role play oriented. To your question of can you screen share and practice, and Yoodli will ask questions based on your code snippet or your slides. Of course, all of that's in the product. What I'm more excited about, and Databricks actually just wrote an article about how they're using this, is this concept of an AI tutor, where people come to Yoodli and say, "Hi, I'm Coach K AI. Welcome to Momentum. This is your
Right.
thing. There are 5 things you need to know." And then the learner's like, blah, 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 blah. And then Coach K is like, "Great, Varun, do you get that? Why don't you tell me, manifesto number 3?" And then Varun does it. And then Coach K is like, "Let's refine that just a little bit. Now here are 3 more things for you to know." So it's literally my career coach, my mentor, my onboarding professional. And then it's like, "Great, Varun, you have now done the content. Let's get into exam mode." And that's the typical quintessential role play. So Yoodli just going back and forth between coaching certification whenever you need it.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, because as a course creator, I use AI all over the place, like Notebook LM and other stuff. So it's not just stagnant videos, but still the classic history behind creating a video that's 5 minutes long, whatever. And to watch this in an LMS stagnant, I'm like thinking there's got to be a more dynamic way I can go through this. So I was inspired the other day by watching Dune. And in the Dune, like, you have this hologram and he's learning about Dune. He's like in the middle of this thing and the rabbit and the things, like it became this dynamic thing where he was controlling the learning, but also it was interacting. So it wasn't just a stagnant step-by-step learning. And I'm like, there's got to be somebody who's doing about this because it's driving me crazy. So it's good to hear that you're thinking this dynamic level, because I think that's the next thing. That's the next level,
Yeah, and there's a million things you can do with it. There's got to be avatar, got to be contextual. You can put in your boss's LinkedIn profile and it'll go back and forth and understand context and, connect with your prior notes with them. But I think once we start doing that, just the opportunities are endless. Think about the future of education as an example, right? Some folks who use us for professor office hours, where I'm like, "Hey, professor, I was really confused about CBT in our Psych 101 class. Can you talk to me about it?" And then I'm going back and forth with this AI TA who's teaching me, not to replace the human. I have a very strong opinion on that, but as an augmentation to get like the basics done, to get from 0 to 8. And then I go to the human in the loop to get from the 8 to the 10.
Yeah, I had literally this morning, I talked to a friend of mine about this very same topic around how I feel like there's this shift starting to happen. Like this is just me, so please just forgive me for my own point of view. But it seemed like this last year was all about this fear around replacing humans, which I think there's going to be tasks and maybe jobs that will shift. I think that will happen. However, I think it's more coming around the line of like when Klarna let go of a bunch of people in customer support. And literally 2 weeks ago, they talked about how they're hiring all those people back because the AI is not a good enough experience for customer support. So now I think we're getting to this equilibrium of where we're thinking, okay, don't fire the human, empower the human, amplify the human. So instead of them doing, I always compare it to, I just want to get your thoughts on this, but let's just say you have 10 SDRs. And the old world, meaning 6 months ago, would say, cut 8 of them, keep 2, and amplify them so they're doing the work of 10. And I'm thinking, keep all 10, amplify them by 100, you're doing the work of 1,000. You know what I mean? And I feel like we're kind of shifting more to that world. At least I'm hoping so, that jobs will have to shift and change, but the humans who remain will be the ones who aren't going to be fired. They're going to be either repurposed or specialized to where they can amplify themselves more. You think I'm crazy? Tell me you think.
Touche. I think it's spot on. But even, one step back, ethically, we don't want to build tech that does that. You hear about these AI STRs across the board. That's not Yoodli. Yoodli's belief is people will always have to communicate with other people. And let's build technology that helps those people communicate better. It's as like, shame on me if I take the kid in India and make them sound like Steve Jobs based on a hologram. That's not why we're like building Yoodli.
Yeah.
I think you need to have the kid in India find their own voice and be the best version of themselves. So in that vein, we get this question all the time because we're working with all of these coaching and training companies who on the surface should be competitors to us. Our approach is absolutely not. We are TurboTax if you're the accountant. We are the medical report if you're the doctor. We are the power drill if you're the electrician. We'll help reinforce your learning, help you scale yourself, help you get more clients. But the oomph of being human, Varun, like you just couldn't build connection on that call. That's why they didn't close.
Yeah.
You got all the basics right. I still hope that a human can help me with, even if AI gets really good. And that's how at least we are building our tech. So even as you Yoodli, that we pitch contests using Yoodli and you'll have, the March Madness score bracket and the AI grades you. But our approach is AI should never make the final decision about who gets a promotion or who wins the contest. When you're done, it gets sent to a human panel, but the human panel now needs to review 2, not 100.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to suggest you're an ASDR. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just more saying like the concept in general. It's kind of saying, like we said before, I don't want to replace the educator. I want to amplify them like that. I think that's the concept that I've been hearing more and more from founders and people in the marketplace, just because, again, businesses who try to replace with AI and then they fail, they're like, so where's the balance? The balance is the human empowered. It's not replacing the human,
And in that vein, I think obviously there's a ethical question, which we don't want to do, but more than that, our belief is it's a business mistake, right? At Yoodli, we
Yeah.
want every coach and trainer in the world to take Yoodli and make it their own. Together, we both win. Like the better together story is way more powerful.
Yeah, I love that. So what do you feel like in general, in the last few minutes I have with you, now that I've kind of had a peek of what's coming, which is fun, what you personally, I always love asking founders this question, besides Yoodli, what are the technologies that you use? And you probably see ChatGPT, whatever. What are the things you use that you personally get value out of? And then the same question about your team.
Yeah, great question. In fact, if you look at any of our JDs, in our interviews, I literally, hey, share your screen and show me how you're using it. Teach me some stuff I don't. It is bonkers. Like I feel like I'm 10,000% more productive today than I was even 3 months ago. Basic examples. Haven't sent a LinkedIn message in forever. We have automated enrichments that sends automated drips to folks across the entire stack. Haven't written an email in forever. I have my voice to text trained model that will automatically reword in my voice. I just press send. LinkedIn posts, any of the social stuff, all of that is automated. Re-engagement is automated.
Yeah.
The stuff that I'm actually spending time on is like calling my friends, calling my mom, making sure my girlfriend still loves me. Most of the business stuff, and I don't know if I should be saying this out on a podcast, is likely an AI version of me doing that.
Yeah. That's great though. I don't think it's bad. I would hope you to be doing that. Honestly, I think it's great. I don't know how to ask this question. Hopefully it'll come across. Any concerns, and not the cure tech, but AI in general, because there's a lot of things going around and you're right in the middle of it as an AI founder and talking about this all day long. What concerns do you have about the future? And then the other side, what's exciting for you?
Great question. I'll give you both two concerns. One, in terms of this role play category for anybody evaluating a vendor, and then more broadly with the industry. There's just a lot of buzz broadly. Everyone, AI this, AI that, there's new GPT wrapper, new LLM, some company raised $1 gazillion. It's very easy to get lost in the noise. I think folks, the core job to be done is really hard. The core job to be done here is to get people to practice and get better. And the core problem with that is people hate practice. They don't have time. They hate the sound of their own voice. They hate watching themselves on camera. Oh my God, I have a pimple. Oh, this is weird. I'll do it later, etc.
Yeah.
We are fighting behavior change, AI or not. If you can get to the deeper psychological bit, which is why I think a human in the loop is important, that's how you solve the problem. So more macro, what I'm excited about is people starting to align on this. AI is just a tool that can help with a lot of the basics, but most societal problems that we have today are based on deeper rooted insecurities or problems. How do we make sure we are still focusing on those as we are building our companies?
Yeah, it's fascinating when I go into places and I talk to them about strategies and stuff. A lot of the times, like in fact, I have one on Monday where they're asking questions around what they need to do to help with churn or pipeline or whatever the case is. And as I really dig in with them on the questions they're asking, AI is not going to fix it. It's things that the humans have to figure out with like their process or their humans, or AI, a tool like yours can help with that, but they've got to identify it first. AI is not going to do it for them. And I was just like, guys, this is not an AI fixed problem. This is a foundational go-to-market issue that we've got to fix. And then once we get the identification, then we can leverage AI to make it faster. But it's been fascinating to me to see that a lot of problems are being kind of unveiled through this process, which I think is good because it takes you back to your point of first principle type problems, or first, whatever the term is called, of really getting to the core of what are we trying to accomplish? What is this here for? And then stripping away all the crap so you can really focus on what's important, which I think is cool.
Right. My big belief with Yoodli is we are moving to a world where the right answer is ubiquitous and it's at your fingertips, right? Every Ford salesman will know exactly what your buying history is and what model to show you and what to say to get you to buy the car. When I'm in a McKinsey interview and they ask me how many ping pong balls in a 747, my Google Glass will have the right answer on the screen and I'll instantly know how to say it and not. If we believe, and I think most of us do, that we are moving to a world in which information is a commodity and everyone will have the contextual right information at their fingertips, I believe the only thing that separates a top performer from someone who's not is how they show up and their communication skills.
Yeah.
And that's why we are doubling down on this AI communication skills, AI role plays as a category bit, because I genuinely think it affects the future of how we interact with one another.
Yeah. So I'm a musician. And so I've recorded hundreds of songs. I've sang on hundreds of songs. And I remember the first time I went and recorded, even now when I still record, like listening to my voice sometimes, I'm like, I don't like listening to my voice, but I like it because it helps me in the performance mode. Like the way I record now, after 10 years and hundreds of songs of doing this, listening to my voice and knowing my own problems, I can fix it better faster because I know what to do. And I've had that feedback mechanism. I love your comparison to that with Yoodli, of it's like saying it is awkward, it is weird, but it does so much better once you get past it. Because once you get, like, for me as a musician, me listening to myself is like the best thing ever. Because I'm like, okay, I gotta tweak that part, I got to fix this thing here. And I know how to do it because I've gone through it enough. I think that same concept can apply with role play. And to your point, we haven't had a good way to do that until AI, so it's kind of cool.
I mean, there's also a reason this has been the biggest problem, right? There are jokes about how more people fear public speaking or communications with the fear of death. And this has been around since the start of humanity. Like we all know someone who's had a breakdown before going on stage, is having a panic attack before tomorrow, who is dreading the presentation. And that's because it's a deeper human thing that we avoid. How do we make that fun and light and judgment free? If we do that, AI or not, I think we win.
I love it. Hence why you're so good at this yourself. Like, you're like a naturalist. This is great. So it's good.
Thank you for saying that.
No, you are. I mean that. I'm not just being nice. Like, it's obvious you're using your own stuff, which is good. It's a good thing. For those who don't know, like, your website is yoodli.ai. Is that right?
Yep, that's yoodli.ai. Sorry about the spelling. That can be a separate episode.
We'll get into it next time. But I'll make sure we have your LinkedIn. And is that the best way people can get in touch with you, is LinkedIn? Okay. So I'll have your LinkedIn URL and then the companies in the show notes. But I just want to say nothing but a pleasure. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, and such an honor.
Thanks for listening to the GTM AI podcast. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, and come back for more.